guys! I just yelled that, didn't I? I am actually pulling up my notes. I knew today was going to be a crazy day, and I knew I would forget half of what I wanted to tell you in this live if I didn't have notes, so I'm being nice and organized. I have my notes open. If you saw my stories 15 minutes ago, I was just in the garden. I quickly changed because I did not want to look at myself in this live in my garden attire because it was bad. So I quickly changed, even put on a necklace. Did not until the camera went live even think about this. So you do get my garden hair. But I'm so glad you're here. Hi, Gardening with Amy in the UK. Were you gardening this morning as well? I love your handle. And hi, Just Amy Johnson in Kentucky. Kentucky is such a fun state. We spent some time there. Oh, probably 6 or 7 summers ago. Y'all are just so friendly in Kentucky. Okay, today I am going to answer the question, is bacon a good source of protein? We are doing a total, I think, of 5 lives, all about protein. We are going to be focusing heavily on animal products, specifically meat. But there's so much to be said about protein. I have a tentative schedule. If you would like to see the tentative schedule to make sure you don't miss a future live, just comment. What should I tell you to comment? Comment the word, I was going to say protein, but I hesitate because some people will spell it incorrectly and then I might miss it with my reply. Let's say meat. Comment the word meat. Don't do it now. For now, just say hi and let me know where you're from so I know who's here. Gardening with Amy was gardening this morning. I'm just going to call you Amy. Danielle is in Georgia. No, is it Danielle? Daniel. Shelly is... Oh, it's popping up so fast. So many of you are joining in. Kansas. Shelly's in Kansas. I'm having trouble keeping track of it. Well, thank you. All of you keep saying hi. Let me know where you're from. What was I saying? Oh, comment meat when the live is done. If you comment it now, it won't help because as soon as I publish this for folks to watch later, then I can't see your comments. So don't comment it now, wait till it's over, but please come back when this is over. Or if you're catching this as a recording, then comment the word meat. And I will make sure you have the schedule of what's coming up. So I hope you can join me for all of them. And anything that I reference today, I will make sure to send you if you comment meat. Does that make sense? Okay. My computer has already gone to black screen, so my notes aren't there. Okay. I wanted to start with explaining some basics about protein. I'm really thankful that recently there's been a lot of talk about protein because for a long time there, it didn't get a good rap that it really should have. And I'm glad that people are now realizing, okay, I need protein. But I still don't think, I did not understand the depth of which we need protein. Protein is a vital macronutrient. And it's literally the building block of our muscles and our bones and our blood and our skin. Like all of our cells rely, the dogs, I don't know if you can hear them, are playing and they're going crazy. If you guys have been following me for any length of time, you know Bixby. Bixby's been around, is he 12? I think he's 12. From the beginning, Bixby's been around and he's in there playing with the younger ones. Like everybody's having a happy morning. Okay, sidetracked again. It's necessary for every function of our body. Protein is. It's that important. And we don't have energy without protein. But it goes like, if you just tell me that, it kind of goes in one ear and out the other. I'm like, yeah, okay, I think I heard that in high school science. I get it. But like, if I don't know the ways to apply it or the ways it applies to me, then it doesn't always mean a lot. Hi from Iowa, Avis. We have Atlanta joining us. Rita, hi Rita. Okay, some things that I need to know, to like register with me. Okay, Michelle, I need to make sure I have enough protein in my diet. You can't build muscles without protein. For me, that matters a whole lot because at my age now in menopause, my muscles are atrophying. They're going kapoo. I have to really, really work on them. I just started adding weights to my exercise routine 2 or 3 years ago. I didn't even ever use weights. And finally I realized, ooh, if I don't, I'm not going to have the muscle that my body needs. So protein helps with that. I'm not going to build muscle, even if I've worked up, proud of myself, I worked up to 22.5 hand weights in each hand when I'm doing my rows. But it's not gonna matter if I'm not eating protein, because my body can still not build those muscles. It helps with bone health. That was huge to me at my age. But I mean, it's important for everybody, because if you're not strengthening your bones, if you're a woman at a younger age, you're gonna have even more trouble when you reach my age. So bone health is so important. I mean, who wants broken bones and broken hips and knee problems with their, all that stuff that proteins can help us avoid. They boost our metabolism. This is something that when I figured it out really made a difference to me, because if you're trying to restrict your calories because you're, big problem in my age, working on not gaining weight, then you often will cut out the protein. I feel like, you'll have a big old salad, but you're not going to put the egg and the meat on it. That's wrong. That's a mistake, because protein, why did I say it that way? Protein helps our metabolism. It speeds up our metabolism. And it means that the more protein that we're eating, the more calories that we're burning. So definitely throw that chicken and those eggs on your salad, because if you don't, you're actually going to hold on to more of those calories, which is it's like a reversal of the way I usually think. On top of that, it does reduce your hunger. When you're putting the chicken and your egg on your salad, that salad is going to keep you satiated for longer, and you're not going to eat the junk food at 2:00 if you had your salad at lunchtime with your chicken and your egg. And it helps you maintain your weight loss, because between your meals, you're not going to be eating the junk, right? So what else? Oh, it helps with lowering blood pressure. I didn't know that, but Bill's struggling with that, and I'm trying to make sure he's getting all the protein he needs because of that. Okay, what is protein? It's made up of amino acids. And here's the thing. This is why we're focusing so much on meat this week, because amino acids, if it wasn't for amino acids, there'd be no protein. Like, amino acids are protein. They build the protein. There are 20 to 22 of them. Some sources say up to 25. Science isn't really sure, guys. Go ahead, Google it. You'll see. Science is not sure how many amino acids there are. But at least 9 of them, they're pretty sure, they tell us. 9 of them are essential amino acids, which means our body cannot build the right protein cells in it to build our muscles and help our skin and all that if these 9 essential amino acids are not in our diet, because our body cannot make it. Not just us, all mammals, all animals cannot make these 9 amino acids. We need to eat them. Well, this is why I'm coming around to meat and animal products in general. Meat has all 9 of those essential amino acids. A lot of things you eat that you think, okay, this is high in protein, this is good. You might not be getting all the amino acids, and they all have different functions and different jobs they play within the protein and within our bodies. So why not have an essential protein? If you're going to eat protein, why not make it an essential one, which simply means it has the 9 amino acids that your body can't make. What else next on my list? Okay, so how much protein, Michelle? Is it just enough to throw a few slices of chicken on my salad and I'm good, right? No, that's not enough. Here's the thing. It gets a little overwhelming when you hear this, but ideally it'd be fantastic if 1/3 of your diet was made up of proteins. But when you really think about it, it's crazy. I do not eat that much meat, and I'm a pig farmer. I don't eat that much meat. So really what they say is 10 to 33% of your daily diet should be protein. So if you look at the 10%, that's not quite as overwhelming and that's more doable. So think about that. Just see if you can make 10% of everything that you're eating a protein. And I think that's kind of doable. But they also break it down. What are the numbers? If you need 2,000 calories a day, then that equals at least 200 calories need to be from protein, but ideally up to 700 of your calories. 700 out of 2,000 could be protein. Wow. So, what are good sources of meat? If you didn't catch my first live in this series, go back to that. If you comment the word meat when this is all done, I will send you a link to the previous the previous video where I showed you a little bit of our farm and our pork farm here. And I showed you our pigs and we talked a little bit about how they're raised. That's the most essential thing when it comes to if you're going to be using meat as your source of protein. You really want, if at all possible, to know how the meat was raised because it makes a huge difference in the meat. I don't think science realized this until rather recently, but a lot of studies have shown the quality of the meat is exponentially better if the animal, the pig, the cattle, are raised in the ideal situations. So I just shared a reel yesterday. I'll send you a link to that too if you missed it, if you comment meat when this is over. And so many of you are chiming in. It's great discussion in the comments. But the reel was explaining that if you're buying Smithfield ham, you might think it's coming from Virginia, right here in the U.S., good old southern part of the U.S. where pigs are raised right. What you don't know, possibly, maybe you do, Smithfield is owned by China. We have no idea how these pigs are being raised. We have no idea what the life is like for this pork. We have no idea what the food is like that they're feeding these pork. It's owned by China. Unfortunately, when you're buying your meat at the grocery store, unfortunately, you do not know. You have no idea. So if you live in New Hampshire and you want to buy pork from us, I'd be happy to meet you. We sell pork shares, half and whole pigs to fill your freezer. Also, I haven't told you yet, we have a giveaway going on. Definitely, when this is over, comment me and I will send you a link to the giveaway. It's really easy to enter. You can enter daily. We're giving away a giant box of grass-fed, grass-finished beef from the most amazing farm. This family, you would think they're not real. They're so wholesome and wonderful. Actually, it's funny to say that because their name is REIL, Real Ranch. But they are real. They're genuine. They're amazing. I've actually talked on the phone to Taylor a couple times and messaged her a lot with questions. Amazing. I can't tell you how good it feels to be able to source your meat from a place where you know what's happening. You know the people that are raising the animal. You know where the animal is grazing, what they're eating. It's an amazing, life-changing kind of thing. So definitely enter this giveaway, and I will also send you information about how you can reach out to Real Ranch because I just found this out this morning. Just this morning, Taylor told me. They are having a huge sale. I think it's through July 7th or something. It's a week or two going on. But it's crazy because you can get a half or a quarter share of beef for the cost of a whole share. That much of a discount. And their shipping is free, which is crazy. I don't know how they do it. They ship these giant boxes with the dry ice and all the meat to your door. And they do it wonderfully. The meat arrives beautifully and nicely frozen. And they do it for free. The shipping is free. I'm going to stop talking about that now because that's not what the point of this live was. But definitely, comment me when this is over and I will introduce you to the Real Ranch, tell you about that special, and tell you how to enter the giveaway. But my point to all of that is, if you can, if at all possible, find a local farmer who is raising the cattle or raising the pigs. And if you can't find them locally, then go to a source that's transparent, that you can talk to, you can ask questions. Find a source that can provide what you need and also answer your questions. Amy says, protein is so essential. In Weight Watchers 10 years ago, they prioritized low fat and low protein. Amy, when I started to read the word Weight Watchers, I'll be honest with you, I thought, oh no. Okay, well, I've already started reading. I'm going to go ahead because I don't want to condone what Weight Watchers is saying. And you're right, that's what they did. She did lose weight, but she was sick all the time, and she also snacked a lot. Exactly, Amy. That's exactly what I was talking about a minute ago. So true. So you're going to have that initial weight loss, but it's so not good for you. And your body is suffering. Your cells cannot build themselves the way they need to. Your bones suffer, your muscles suffer, your skin suffers. It's crazy. Thank you, Amy, for that wonderful explanation. In fact, I'm going to take a quick screenshot if I need. Oh, I can't do a screenshot in a live. Oh, it did let me, because I want to remember that example, Amy. It's perfect. Southwest Pennsylvania, we have Lonnie joining us. Texas again, Rebecca. Texas, a big state. I have. Okay, I'm not going to read that one. Okay. Awesome. Lots of you here. I'm going to stop reading where you're all from, but thank you. Keep chiming in. Okay. So, what else was I saying? The micronutrients that are available in pasture-raised pork. This is one study that I found from Ohio State University. This is pork specific, but this is going to be true of any properly raised meat. But this was a study on pork. A lot more plentiful, the micronutrients were a lot more plentiful than the conventional counterparts. So in this study, they compared conventional meat raised in a meat lot and pasture-raised pigs. And they found, are you ready for this? This is crazy. 300% more vitamin E in the pasture-raised pork. It gets even better. They found 75% more, how do you pronounce this? I don't want to say it wrong. Selenium. I think it's selenium. In case you haven't heard of selenium, or I'm saying it wrong, it's actually an essential component of protein. Essential. Without selenium, protein cannot build our DNA. Like, we need DNA. We need it to be built continually. Our protein can't do that without selenium. But it also cannot help us fight infection without selenium. That's the job, one of the many jobs of selenium in the whole beautiful scope of protein. That's the thing. All these 20 or 22 amino acids all do different jobs in their role as the building block of the protein, which is then the building block of our cells. And if we aren't getting all these different amino acids and micronutrients, then there's something suffering, even if we have the right amount of protein. Even if we're eating 30% of our diet in protein, if it's not a complete protein and we're not getting all those amino acids and micronutrients, then something's missing out. And we might still not be building our DNA correctly. Or we might still be not able to fight off infections and getting sick often because our food isn't high in selenium. That's just one part of protein. So again, that's why I'm focusing mostly on meat this week, because it is something a lot of us love, right? And it is something that is essential. It's filled with all those essential amino acids. It's a complete protein. Okay, what else are on my notes? Oh, vitamin D as well. There are studies, I love this. This actually, when Bill brought home pigs, he kind of mentioned to me he was going to do it. We talked about it. But then we spent years, I couldn't decide on a breed. And he's really great. He just sometimes overrides Michelle's indecision and just jumps in and makes a decision, which is a fantastic thing, because I probably still wouldn't have pigs. I'd probably still be debating, well, should it be this breed or that breed? I want the best breed. Well, we've been raising pigs now, I think this is our 7th year. And he did his research, talked to some local pig farmers, and said, what's the best breed to raise here? And that was such a good idea, because it's not really about what's the fancy breed that people say do the most things or has the certain kind of meat. What it's really about is where you live, what thrives the best. So it was brilliant of Bill. Anyway, that was a sidetrack. So he brought them home. I was like, oh, this is great, but I still hadn't really done a lot of intense research, didn't know a lot about pork. Then when I found out this fact I'm going to tell you now, I was over the moon excited to be a pig farmer. Seriously excited. Because vitamin D is an essential vitamin, but it's very hard to get it in our food. And if you live in a climate that doesn't have a lot of sunshine, aka New England, for half of the year, we have gray skies, like all winter, you very seldom see the sun, then vitamin D is a real problem for you, because you can't get it from the sun, and it's really hard to source in your food. It's just not something you typically can get in food. So for me, the result was seasonal depression. And it's crazy in the winter how unmotivated I am sometimes because I'm dealing with a lack of vitamin D. So it also does other things too. What are my other notes about vitamin D? It helps your body absorb calcium. Why did I forget that one? That's like the most important thing. It helps your immune system respond to bacteria and fight it off. And it improves your mood and your overall health. That's vitamin D. So when we started eating our pasture-raised pork, I noticed a huge difference in my seasonal depression. It was almost non-existent. I will never say non-existent because it's a real thing. It's a big battle in a place where you don't get enough sun. But it made a huge difference because I was suddenly eating my vitamin D pretty much daily. Maybe not every day, but most days I would either have sausage or bacon or ham or some kind of pork roast, whatever for our meal. And it makes a difference. And studies have shown, let me see, it's found in higher concentration, much higher concentration in the meat of pasture-raised pigs than in any secondary source of vitamin D. I don't even know if you can get vitamin D in non-pasture-raised pigs. I should look that up. I don't think you can. The ones that China are raising and selling as Smithfield ham, pretty sure they're not going to have vitamin D in them because they're not going to see sunshine. That's why our pigs are high in vitamin D. What are you doing, Max? What are you doing? They have exposure to sunlight like all summer long. And that is building up the vitamin D. In fact, the place in the pig, this is interesting, that has the highest concentration of vitamin D is the back fat, the lard. Another reason I love making lard and using lard. That's all I use. Sometimes I'll use avocado oil as our fat in our diets. But the back fat on the pig is what's exposed to the most sunlight, right? It makes sense. They're walking around, the sun's right on their back, so the lard is very high in vitamin D. Okay, enough about vitamin D. Now, that question that I asked in the beginning, let's see, what else do I have on here? The question I asked in the beginning was, is bacon a good source of protein? Well, if you Google it, hi everybody, so glad to see you on here, good to have you. If you Google, is bacon good for you? Is bacon a good source of protein? I'm pretty sure the answer Google's going to tell you is no, and restrict it if you have any. Limit it in your diet. It's going to tell you it's high in sodium, it's high in fat. Well, the sodium comes from how it's processed. If you know your source and you ask, is this a nitrate-free bacon? Is it smoked in nitrate-free smoking houses? Then you'll know the source of your sodium, if it's a good one or a bad one. Because guys, sodium is important. We need sodium. In fact, I will send you my complete guide to salt and sodium when you comment me when this video is over. I'll send that too. So it's important. We need it. And fat is so important. I'll send you information about that too. We need fat in our diets. In fact, a lot of vitamins are fat-soluble vitamins. And we are lacking in so many essential vitamins because we were told years ago, and a lot of people in my generation still believe it, that you have to have a low-fat diet, like Amy was telling us. And a lot of the vitamins aren't getting absorbed because they can't. They need fat to be absorbed by our bodies. Fat is good if you're using the right fat. Okay, so anyway, so don't believe what they say that bacon is bad for you because of the sodium in the fat, okay? Let me see, I actually copied and pasted what Google told me yesterday when I looked this up. Google told me, keeping your bacon intake to a minimum is recommended. Eating it every couple of weeks is best. No. You know your source. If you're eating Smithfield bacon, then I would change that and say not eating it at all is best, right? Because it's a bad source. If it's a good source of your meat, why would you restrict it? It's an essential, it has everything in it, all the essential amino acids that you need. It's a complete protein. Why would you restrict that? So if you have a good nitrate, if the fat is good because it's a pasture-raised pig and it's high in vitamin D, these are all good things. And a serving of bacon is going to give you 12 grams of protein. I should have looked up how many calories that is because I know I told you should have at least, how many did I tell you? 200. At least 200 calories a day should be from protein. So I don't know a serving of bacon, how many calories it is. It might meet that actually. But ideally you should have 700 calories, right? If you have a 2,000 calorie diet, I should say. So bacon and then yummy meat for dinner, and you have all your protein for the day. So is it the best source of protein? Maybe not. I mean, there certainly is other meat on the pig that has even more nutrients in it. And you might get sick of eating bacon every day too. So I don't know if it's the best source, but is it a good source of protein? Yes, if it's good meat. That's what it all comes down to. And that's what I really wanted to drive home today, is just that know your source if you can. That's the most important thing when it comes to your protein. Okay, before we wrap up today, I have one last thing. Since I teased you in with, is bacon a good source of protein? I want to make sure I tell you my tips for cooking bacon. Let me see what Amy said. Amy said, last year, my goal was eliminating buying meat from the store. I found 2 wonderful farms to get meat from, and my mother-in-law gave us half a cow. You have an amazing mother-in-law. I only buy a few things meat-wise here and there. It's the best, isn't it? It is the best when you're walking in the grocery store and you remember the old days when you used to have your cart full of all the food that you were relying on the grocery store for. And instead, you can just walk in the grocery store and pick up those few things, the produce and some healthy options, and then walk out. And it feels so good when you're putting it on the conveyor belt. I remember years ago when it dawned on me, wait, my conveyor belt looks a lot different at the grocery store than it used to, It's a process. It takes a while. And we don't all have mother-in-laws giving us half a cow. But eventually you can overhaul your pantry and you can get to that point that you're not relying on the grocery store as much, and you definitely aren't relying on them for the junk that's bad for your health. Okay, how to cook bacon. True story. I ran to the freezer when I came out of the garden, and I had 8 minutes until the live started, and I knew I wanted to change out of my grummy clothes. I ran to the freezer, and I was so sad that Bill had it blocked with a storm window, a large storm window he had taken off and set it there, and I can't get to the freezer that has the bacon. So I brought you a ham for my show and tell. I was going to show you my bacon, but here's my ham. But this is pasture-raised ham. This is what it looks like. And back to telling you how to cook bacon. Let's pretend this is a pound of bacon. A couple things. First of all, if it's frozen solid and you want to cook it right away, don't sweat. Take it out of its packaging, lay it on a cast iron skillet, and put it in your oven at 350. 5 minutes later, come back, and it will be totally peelable. If it's not peelable in the middle, it's still a little frozen in the middle, give it another minute or two. Come back, it'll all be peelable. So it's not a problem if you wait till the last minute and you have to defrost your bacon, first of all. Then, line your strips of bacon up on your cast iron pan. And this is the secret sauce. If you want to have the best bacon you've ever had, rub some of this amazingness on it. This is my meat rub, and I'm going to talk more about it in our next live, so join me for that. But if you rub some homemade meat rub on your bacon, just the top of it, don't worry that it's not going to be on the bottom. If they're really thick slices, you don't have to worry about the sides. Just rub it on the top and put it in the oven at 350. It takes probably about 20 minutes if it's average sliced bacon. No turning required, no babysitting required. You just come back, take a peek in the oven, and if it's done to the way you like it, it's done. That's it, guys. It requires no extra effort. I used to do my bacon in a skillet and turn it often. And grease splattering. No, thank you. So that will make the best bacon you've ever had. So join me tomorrow and we'll talk more about the meat rub and how you can make it. And is there anything else that I had to tell you? How to use your bacon, because it isn't unusual. This is a maple meat rub. It's mainly maple sugar. You can also just rub maple sugar on your bacon too. Also, bacon is really good without this, don't get me wrong. But if you want to make maple bacon, how do you use it? Well, make maple bacon hamburgers. Make maple BLTs. Oh, so good. Make maple bacon tossed salad. And final option, drum roll please, make some maple bacon chocolate chip cookies. I will send you the recipe for maple bacon chocolate chip cookies when you comment meat when the live is done. Okay? think that's it. Let me see if I had any other questions. Shelly says, I can tell when I work out if I had not had enough protein. That's another good point. It gives you the energy to do what you need yourself to build those muscles. And often if we're tired and don't have the energy, we're not going to exercise. So that's another way it helps with building muscle. That's a very good point, Shelly. Okay. So glad all of you are here. Thank you, thank you. Thank you for commenting. Color, I'm not sure of your handle, Instagram handle. I'm so bad at that. Color something cancer journey. Bacon is largely fat in its commercial presentation in the US. True. And when you buy bacon from us, it is definitely less fatty than what you see at the grocery store. Like, that's crazy, isn't it? When you buy it at the grocery store, it's like 98% fat and teeny little strips of meat in it. And that's because of their diet. That's how they're raised. And they're fed food that their body can't digest correctly. It's crazy. But when you buy our bacon, it's still going to have a lot of fat. At least 50%. I mean, maybe 70%. That's what bacon is. Bacon is the fatty portion of the pig. But it comes back to what I was saying earlier. It's a good fat, loaded in vitamin D. It has nutrients in it. And it's so good for you because there are so many vitamins your body is not processing because you're not getting enough good fat. So yes, bacon does have a lot of fat. Okay, so glad you all joined me. Please join me again tomorrow. Comment me and I'll send you the schedule so you don't miss it. And I'm so bad at Instagram handles. Lysum again says, why have I never thought of a rub? Tell you what, it takes bacon to a whole new level. All right, thanks guys. Join me for our next live. Comment meat. I'll send you everything we talked about today. I'll send you a link to those studies and my maple bacon chocolate chip cookie recipe. Thanks guys, this was fun.